Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I am showing you the #1 deck in Japan. How can I make such a crazy claim, you say? Well, recently in Japan, there was an 1,100-person tournament in Tokyo, which is ridiculous. And it was won by this Buzzwole deck. So yes, I feel pretty confident saying that the winner of the most recent, very large tournament in Japan is the best deck in Japan. And it's Buzzwole, not Zoroark. Although maybe you can understand, you know, Buzzwole beat Zoroark. Now, a quick reminder that Japan is playing in a slightly different format. So the one in which we're playing, Japan is playing X and Y onwards, which is more restrictive than our expanded format, black and white onwards, but more restrictive than our current breakthrough on format. There we go. So, the main Pokemon here, 4 copies of Buzzwole. Of course there's 4 copies of Buzzwole. Buzzwole is a great Pokemon, and although it's got other attacks, really here we are focused on Jet Punch. Jet Punch does 30 to the active, 30 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, and then of course you use Strong Energy so it does more damage, and Muscle Band so it does more damage. But there is an amazing tech in this deck, which I've got to mention here, even though I might mention it shortly in a minute. Wide Lens. I love that somebody played Wide Lens and won a giant tournament. Now, Wide Lens was a card that came out in Roaring Sky, so it's not legal in our format at the moment. But it says that basically you do hit the bench for weakness and resistance. Why is that important? Well, according to the lovely Antoine Boulay, who told me all about this deck, 75% of people were playing Zoroark. There is no 70 HP Zorua, which means that you're now hitting 30 against a 60 HP bench Zorua with a ×2 weakness to fighting and get KO'd instantly. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. 2 Zorua KOs in one. That is how Buzzwole was so good in this tournament. Now, to be fair, it's weak to Garbodor, which is a slight issue. But then again, the format was filled with Zoroarks. Zoroarks easily KO Garbodor while making sure they don't play enough items and taking advantage of resistance to beat Garbodor. Ergo, yeah. You don't need to be that worried about Garbodor if everyone else but you is playing Zoroark, which is really cool. This deck, I mean, it's expanded, so of course there's a Tapu Lele in there, just to grab yourself a supporter card when you need it. And of course there's a Shaman in there, because with Shaman it lets you draw extra cards. Like everyone plays it in Expanded, everyone plays it here. He did play an Oricorio, which he needed to do, because of course this is the one which is a good counter to Night March decks, and Night March is still legal and you've got to be prepared for it, especially given that Pumpkaboo, one of the Night March attackers, hits you for weakness. You need to have Oricorio here just to give yourself a chance against Night March. It's got to be done. And although he played Garbodor, he only played the ability locking Garbodor. Why? Because he was attacking with Buzzwole. He didn't feel the need to play the other ones. And of course, as we're going to see in a minute, he played Strong Energy and he played Max Elixir. If you're playing Max Elixir, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, find a basic energy there and attach it to one of your benched basic Pokemon. If you're playing Max Elixir, you need to be playing lots of basic energy. If you're playing Strong Energy and Max Elixir, you do not have room for Rainbow Energy, which would be needed to attack with the other Garbodor. Just the ability locking one here. And it's useful for everything from Shaman and Tapu Lele all the way through to Zoroark, and you get the idea. It just shuts down lots of decks. Now, there's some cards which we're used to by now. Ultra Ball is just the best Pokemon search we've got. So there's 4 of them. Versus Seeker, oh my goodness, we missed Versus Seeker. Just allows you to grab a supporter card from your discard pile. So of course you play 4 of them, everybody does. For Professor Sycamore, because it is the fastest, most aggressive supporter in the format. And this really is a deck where if you get set up a lot, you win. You're playing Max Elixir, you're playing Buzzwole, that's a good early game Pokemon. You've got the early game pressure here. You need to get going. That's why for Professor Sycamore. And a couple copies of N because N is still good. And a copy of Cynthia. I said that Cynthia is amazing and will be played in every deck, and a whole bunch of people went, it's not that great, Ross. Well, first big tournament, or at least one of the first big tournaments since it became legal in Japan, and oh look, it's in the winning deck. Who could possibly have predicted that? This guy, ladies and gentlemen, this guy could have predicted it. Guzma is better than Lysander because it switches as well. It's got a little bit more utility, but you only need a couple of Guzma because you got Versus Seeker. And the other supporter played here is Corinna, and I miss Corinna. Search for a fighting Pokemon and an item card. It's great, ladies and gentlemen. It's great. Grab a Buzzwole and grab whatever item it is that you need. Grab a Buzzwole and an Ultra Ball to go and grab a Shaman to draw some cards, if you like. Now, he did play Super Rod here, as you do, because you need to recover your Pokemon. It's fairly important. He did play a whole bunch of Floatstone because, well, Buzzwole's got a high retreat cost. And, of course, let's not forget, Garbodor needs tools, and the best tool on Garbodor is a Floatstone. But one of the cards that really made this deck work is Max Elixir. Because you see, I talked about using Buzzwole with Wide Lens, and that takes out Zoruas brilliantly. But if you find yourself against something like a Volcanion, well, just sitting there doing 30 and 30 isn't going to do the trick. What you need here is a way to get up to big damage. How do you do that? Get free energy on a Buzzwole. With a strong, you're then hitting 180 to KO a Volcanion. Yeah, it's a pain, but it's got to be done, and the best way to do it is Max Elixir. One Muscle Band. Why do we play Muscle Band over Choice Band? Muscle Band does 20 more to everything. Choice Band does 30 more, but only to EXs and GXs, which is why Muscle Band really is the better option here. Because, especially in the early game, if you've got, I don't know, some kind of, let's say, Grubbin. I know Vikavolt Bulu doesn't really see any play in Expanded, but let's just assume somebody is 70 HP basic. Oh, how am I going to take that down? Or here's a better example, 70 HP Trubbish. Let's go for that. That's a much better one. So 70 HP Trubbish comes around. Oh no, Jet Punch is only doing 30. Oh, I'll put a Strong Energy on. Oh no, I'm only doing 50. Well, now you put a Muscle Band on and you're doing 70. It's good. Rescue Stretcher is just really good for recovering Pokemon as well as Super Rod. The advantage is Rescue Stretcher can get one straight into your hand, and maybe you use Super Rod to recover energy, Rescue Stretcher to recover your Pokemon. Either way, we good. And just one copy of Field Blower. Field Blower, sometimes you need to get rid of your opponent's stadium. I don't know, let's say Parallel City, because it's restricting your bench spaces. Or you need to get rid of, I don't know, a Fighting Fury belt, so that you can lower their HP and get a KO. That's where Field Blower comes in. One copy of Nest Ball. Why do we have a copy of Nest Ball here? Because you're relying on basic Pokemon. This is a Buzzwole deck. This is kind of like a 5th Ultra Ball. Yeah, it doesn't get you Tapu Lele or Shaman to draw extra cards or find a supporter, but the one thing it does do is it gets you a Buzzwole, and this is a deck where you need to get Buzzwole. So you play it. 2 Enhanced Hammer. The great thing about Buzzwole here, Buzzwole is a deck where you take an early lead, and if your opponent cannot match the speed of your start, they will lose, like every time if they have a slow start, because you're just spreading damage around and there's nothing they can do. Enhanced Hammer is a way to get rid of their special energy and make sure that you give them a slower start. We all know how good Gardevoir is. Well, Gardevoir with enough energy on can one-hit KO a Buzzwole. That's a bad thing, but they need double colorless energy, so you use your Enhanced Hammer to keep their double colorless energy in check. The aforementioned Wide Lens, I adore Wide Lens in this deck. It's just there for Zorua, but it doesn't need to be there for anything else. It does the job quite nicely on Zorua. And then just Scorched Earth. You're playing a whole bunch of energy, I think 9 basic energy. So why would you not play a Scorched Earth to give yourself a bit of extra draw power? One Shaman, one Tapu Lele, but then you've got Scorched Earth as well. And at the end of the day, in a lot of games, just having a Buzzwole and a strong energy, or even a basic energy, is going to be enough. Speaking of the energy, 4 strong, 9 basic. In both cases, you want more. Strong energy, you do an extra 20 with your attacks. It's amazing, but you can only play 4. And as for the basic energy, 9 is good. 4 max elixir, you'll hit 2 or 3 of them playing 9 basic energy. You'd like to play more basic energy, but where are you going to find the room? This is not a deck we expected to be winning huge tournaments. Buzzwole, Garboda. And the great thing is you can largely play this deck as it stands in the standard format. No, you can't play Shaman. No, you can't play Muscle Band. No, you can't play Wide Lens. And Corinna as well goes away. But the rest of it's pretty good. Wide Lens, there is an argument that's what tips it over the edge. In a hugely, and this isn't a great deck in every metagame, but in a metagame which is hugely Zoroark related, this is a great call. Maybe Wide Lens makes or breaks it, but it's got to be worth trying in Standard. And in Expanded, you can play this while adding in some sneaky tricks like Computer Search as well. And I assure you, Zoroark is going to be all over Expanded. My advice, play yourself some Buzzwole. It's going to be great. So you can see the list on the screen there. Here is the full list. If you want to net deck it, I mean, you've got the picture there, but I've been nice enough to write it out as well. I'm a nice guy like that. Check it out. It's a really good deck. And I know some people think I'm being all a bit clickbaity. No, this is the best deck in Japan. It won the most recent big tournament in Japan. Ergo, I feel very comfortable calling it the best deck in Japan. But if you want to argue, that's fine. That's why we got a comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. Tell me your thoughts about it. I'd love to know. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at The Wassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, etc., you can do so by going to patreon.com/PTCGRadio. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.